Good evening, good afternoon, and if the sun is rising where you are, good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of the Buttery Show. My name is Jacqueline Amira, and I will be your hostess on the cinematic journey this evening. Along with me is my ride or die, Bogan Kabuto. Say hello. It's a Tuesday. We're here.
Hi, wait a minute. Why is my name in parentheses?
I did not do that. Ryan must have done it.
I thought I was your co-star.
I didn't do it. Oh my god, we have to get even with him. Oh, how convenient. He disappeared. We like to have fun on this show, as you can tell. Anyhow, say hello. Let's start this over again.
Much better.
Yay!
It will make more sense when we go into the movie.
Absolutely. Tonight is a very special episode as we continue our journey on the avenue that is the Mel Brooks classics. Mm-hmm. Again, for your own safety, please remain seated with your hands, feet, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times. We get to go visit one of my partner's favorite movies ever, To Be or Not to Be. The 1983 movie, I think it was. It came out the same year that I was born.
Yeah. Yes. And it is based on a 1940s classic, but with
the same
some
name.
Improvements.
Mm-hmm. And the 1942 film was actually filmed at the time that the Nazis were invading Poland. So it was right on the nose, historically accurate. 40, something years later, I'm sure Mel Brooks had a bit of leeway there to work with, although most of the film is derived from the original.
Yes. Yes, it is. I'll say this, a lot of the things were improved upon. Although there was one joke from the original film I wish they kept in the new one.
Which one is that?
The opening joke where Hitler's just like standing there in Poland. They're like, what's Hitler doing here? They have a flashback. Turns out it's Bronski dressed up as Hitler. And then a little kid's like, Mr. Bronski, can I have your autograph?
They didn't have the same names in the original film, did they?
In the original film, the main character and Bronski were actually two different characters. Mm-hmm. But when Mel Brooks wrote the new version, he kind of combined both characters. So you had this one character that wanted to be Hitler in Naughty Nazis, and a different character that wanted to be Hamlet in Hamlet, and they had their two separate things going on. But now they're combined into one Mel Brooks character who both wants to be Hamlet and Hitler at the same time.
And of course, there is a classic gag of the person in the third row getting up from his seat and moving as the famous words of Hamlet are being spoken. And he can never finish it. It's almost like the, hey, down in front in the Looney Tunes. But with this film, the time is 1939. It's Warsaw, Poland. It's the eve before World War II officially enters their backyard. And you have Mr. Brooks and Miss Bancroft as the title characters. And Miss Bancroft is not a very good wife in this movie. Not at all.
Yep.
My goodness. I mean, I'm surprised. For me, Christopher Lloyd, I did not expect to see him in this film. He's Doc Brown to me. He will always be Doc Brown, either that or the bad guy in Dennis the Menace.
Or the Page Master.
To see him, and he looks so serious the whole time, too.
Yeah. You gotta love Schultz. He's funny.
Now, weren't the original writers of the 1942 film involved in this one as well?
I don't really know. It'd be interesting if they were, because then I could draw some parallels between the two producers' movies, because Mel Brooks made both of them. But honestly, I would have to do some further research for that one.
I mean, it's an interesting concept to combine musical Broadway type numbers in a private theater with war being on your front door as sort of like a distraction to keep the public not paying attention to that. And then on top of that, they shut the theater down more than once. And everyone has to hide when the bombs start hitting. I mean, It's funny for me, but it's kind of not funny at the same time because you're dealing with a historic real life scenario in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of historical context in this movie, and I think that kind of makes the movie a little bit more timeless.
Oh, no doubt, it's an absolute classic.
Yeah, and of course, like you could even draw some parallels to like things that would happen in the future because in 1990 we have the Gulf War, which is like the first televised war. So it's like you're seeing current events inside a theater. Yeah.
Now, for this movie, one number that really stood out to me, I want a piece of this one, I want a piece of that one, and Hitler's like wanting a piece of all the different countries, and then the curtain shuts on him. I'm just like, wow, really?
Yeah.
Was that your favorite?
I want a piece of Austria, I want a piece of France, I want a piece of Czech and a bit of Slovakia.
And they're just like taking pieces off the map as this whole thing is going on.
Yeah. I mean, he did say he wanted peace, but he meant in the Scarlett Johansson kind of way, Piece.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that number, and then the ladies' number where his friend comes out disguised to hide from the police. They catch him anyway.
Yeah, Sasha.
And to see Mel like jump around on the stage and stuff. I'm sorry, that's funny to me.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you have Tim Matheson as Sabinsky. You have Charles Durning as Colonel Earhart. Professor Seletsky is Jose Ferrer. And of course, Schultz is Mr. Christopher Lloyd, who we've already discussed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much star power in this film. And that's to be really expected from any work of Mel Brooks. He really, checks off every box in terms of that. And what surprised me, Mel Brooks is known to play multiple roles in his films. He didn't do quite as many for this one, probably because it wouldn't be as accurate to the original 1942 film, even though I've never seen it.
But I suppose in an inside the fourth wall kind of way, he kind of did play multiple characters because as opposed to being multiple characters, he got to pretend to be other people in the movie.
Yeah.
Like he got to be Seletsky, he got to be Earhart, he got to be Hitler. So it's like, it's just that this time it's not Mel Brooks playing all those characters. It's Bronski, Frederick Bronski playing all those characters.
Yeah. And I love how in the beginning of the movie, it starts out in Polish and they're like, okay, for everyone's sanity, we want to do the rest of this movie in English.
What do you mean? What do you mean? How dare you put my name in parentheses?
That's probably why Ryan did it. And he still disappeared.
And like I love how like at the end of the movie when they're doing the curtain call and like they're showing everyone's names in the movie, like you actually have Mel Brooks and the lead actress's name, but like hers is in parentheses.
Just
and
like the sign.
And then Mel Brooks just coughs and then like it turns normal.
Now, we did talk about like the writers earlier. So here's one thing I was able to pick up. So modest billing was given to Edwin Justice Mayer, as well as Melchior Langell. I may pronounce that wrong. I'm so sorry if I did. Who wrote the story on which the first screenplay was based. Despite the fact that so much of this film was lifted directly from the original 1942 movie, the new film screenplay is credited in an early prominent title to Thomas Meehan and Ronnie Graham, with mention of Mayer and Langell coming only after we've read the names of various producers, cameramen, production, etc. So they kind of like included them towards the very small back end of it, is what I'm getting out of that. And to me, that doesn't make sense because that's the premise of the entire movie. Not good. Oh my goodness. I mean, in production notes, Mel Brooks did say at one time he doesn't think that this film should be described as a remake. He pointed out that when the great male star of each succeeding generation performed Hamlet, it wasn't listed as a remake. Then again, you really don't mess with Shakespeare in terms of writing. So, this was tampered with to some degree here.
Yeah, I mean, by definition, it is a remake. It's the same story told in a slightly or significantly different way that has no continuity with the original version. If it did have continuity, it'd be called a reboot. By the way, for those of you who don't know the difference, congratulations, now you do. Now, Hamlet, they always did the same thing verbatim, so it's like it's not really a remake either. It's just it's a recreation, but although I would call the Mel Gibson version to be a remake because that was just butchered.
Yeah.
That was probably one of Glenn Close's worst performances. Sorry, Glenn.
Ooh, yeah, not good.
Yeah. I loved her in 101 Dalmatians, just, not
she
in
was
Hamlet.
such a good Cruella de Vil. I agree on that one.
But yeah, it's nice seeing like these highlights from Hamlet done the way they were.
Now, wasn't Anne Bancroft actually married to Mel Brooks in real life?
Was she? I don't know. I would have to look that up for a bit. Let's see. Spouses. Anna Bancroft was his second wife.
I'm sorry, but if you work with your spouse in that capacity, that has to be funny. I'm sorry.
It's a double-edged sword, but I'm glad it worked out for the best.
And I mentioned before Anne Bancroft's character not being a good wife, and then her and her, military boyfriend are discovered. In mid-performance, they finally figure out that whenever Mel Brooks' character goes out to do Hamlet, that's his cue to go backstage with the wife.
And I love how it just where he just misinterprets as him just leaving the show because he's just not impressed. And somehow the anger turns him into a good actor. It's like,
he gets louder too.
Wait. What's going on? He's doing good today for some reason. Or take up arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them.
I love how the wife tried to play clueless too. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do tomorrow. And then, I don't know. It's just from a different time. It's fun to watch films that took place during a time before I was even born.
Yeah.
That are also have some historical context like this one. Which character do you identify with from this movie?
It's really tough to pick a character. I would say that one Jewish guy who did Shylock, because for one, I love how like when everyone was like running down to the basement, like there was the one guy who crossed himself, but then he was like. Yep. And of course the way he delivered Shylock was just like perfect. And
then the clowns went into that little hole.
If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you kill us, do we not revenge?
And you also had certain lines that were classics, like Sondheim send in the clowns, that Mel Brooks got to work in there, in addition to the famous soliloquies from Hamlet. The theater itself, I love old school architect theaters like that, or like opera houses, where everything happens right in front of your face. There's no special effects. There's no gimmicks. It's just live entertainment. And you could tell that even though the audience is acting, like I would be completely entertained with a show like that in this day and age.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of Shakespeare. Like the only real special effect that they really have to worry about is, taking advantage of the trap door, because there's always a trap door in Elizabethan theater, and it can always be used effectively if done correctly. And I like classic Shakespeare. I'm a big fan of Much Ado About Nothing and Titus Andronicus. I'm actually going to go see Macbeth later this weekend. That's also a classic. And of course, and then you just paint a rapier red, blue, or green, because Shakespeare also wrote Star Wars. Verily, A New Hope.
Interesting. I didn't know Wait a minute. They actually wrote No. Okay. Where are you getting this from?
No, there's like an actual Elizabethan version of Star Wars.
Oh my God. Are you
And
serious?
yes, all of the all 9 Star Wars movies, all as plays from the Elizabethan era. Like there's even a line from Act 3, Scene 1 from Verily a New Hope where Han Solo says, "Good sir, I apologize for the mess. Whether or not shot first, I'll never confess."
Oh my God. Where is this? I'm sorry. I know this is taking us away a little bit, but I got to find out about this. This is too funny. Oh, look at what he's got here.
Yep, right here.
Ooh. Star Wars. Okay.
Verily a New Hope. Yeah,
Verily a New Hope.
Yes, I like collecting these and reading them and seeing how they're different from one another. So yeah.
What breaks my heart with Mel Brooks's films, and To Be or Not to Be is no exception, is the critics always hate him. I don't know if they just were like, all right, it's another Mel Brooks movie. And they give him 60%, they give him 2 stars or 3 stars. And this is another classic from him. It's almost the equivalent of Young Frankenstein doing the soft shoe, the monster, in that particular movie. We'll cover that one later, I promise.
And it's like Mel Brooks is the Leo DiCaprio of script writing, where like, oh, if he's in it, we'll tank it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame because like it is a cult classic, and I'm glad we're actually reviewing this movie because I feel like not enough people either know it exists or know it exists, but they're not talking about it because people know about Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs. Maybe the producers, the remake, but not a lot of people talk about To Be or Not to Be, and I feel like that's a darn crime.
That is a crime. I mean, if you're going to love Mel Brooks, you got to love all his stuff, not just some of it. At least that's my take on it.
Or at least respectfully criticize its flaws.
Respectfully criticize?
Hey, criticism comes from a place of love.
The critic from Ratatouille might disagree. We're going off track.
I don't like Mel Brooks movies. I love them. If I don't love them, my eyes don't absorb light waves. I try my best.
Now, this movie actually did get nominated for some awards, which I'm glad. If the critics don't like him, the associations do. And Charles Durning got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. You had Golden Globe nominations for Miss Bancroft, along with Mr. Durning as well. And Mel Brooks got nominated for Best Foreign Actor. That's interesting. In Writers Guild, Thomas Meehan and I'm getting tongue-tied, guys. I'm so sorry. Ronnie Graham got nominated for the Writers Guild of America for this movie. So I guess that kind of balances out like the bad criticism a little bit. Because if you're nominated for an award, it's like, who are you going to pay attention to? The awards people or the critics? I'm going to go with the awards.
It's my personal policy to trust neither and just make my own opinion. Listen to them afterwards.
Yeah.
If they change your mind, they change your mind. Good for them.
Yeah.
But at least watch it for yourself first.
Absolutely. And I think this movie just falls short under 2 hours, 107 minutes approximately. It's just I love being transported to another time. And that's what this movie does. And even during the low points, when Mel Brooks and his wife get evicted from their home and they have to go live with the stylist, or when they're all bunkering down in the basement, like that's not stuff we have to worry about now. Not at all.
Yeah. I feel like it would be the understatement of the century, but in case anyone hasn't figured it out, Nazis are bad guys. They take without permission.
Yeah, they just don't care. They take everything.
Yeah. But I love how Mel Brooks' character is just like so easy to change his mind. It's like, I will not accept it. Okay, well, we've accepted it. Okay, let's go, guys.
Oh my god. I will say this though, and this is my personal opinion. I'm not a fan of clowns. That's never going to be a thing for me. When I saw the clowns come out, I was like, okay. And then the one crying at the end, I was like, oh Lord, here we go.
I love how Sasha went for the save and tried to do like a Nazi Pagliacci routine.
Mm-hmm. It got the audience involved.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like that's where the Joker got his shtick from, like bang with the flag, except it's a Nazi flag instead of a flag that says bang on it.
Bang. Oh god.
Yeah.
I don't know. Clowns are just not my thing. If you love clowns, yippee for you. I just meet and no, not gonna happen. And with this movie, I mean, I don't know. It strikes me as something that may make a comeback now, given the current climate of everything in the world.
Probably.
Maybe change a few details, obviously, but
I mean, they kind of did that in the Mel Brooks version of the movie because Sasha's character in the original film was originally an old woman, but they changed her into a gay man to reflect the fact that, it wasn't just Jews that were being prosecuted, gays and gypsies were as well. And also, I love how they made a line out of that in the movie. It's like why can't the Nazis understand? You can't have good theater without Jews, gays, and gypsies.
And he also wore the pink triangle with pride.
Oh yeah, the pink triangle. It's Jackie. Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing, but Mel Brooks could have easily thrown in "It's good to be king," "It's good to be Hitler" in this movie.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah,
would have questioned it.
He didn't say "It's good to be pure."
That would have fit in perfectly with the tone and setting of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like all we're missing is a Viking funeral and Jews in space. So,
but there has to be a number on ice. Hitler was on ice.
That's true. I mean, it takes place in the winter.
Then there's plenty of ice available. I did. Yeah? Oh no.
I mean, you have Bronski dressed up as Hitler. He's standing in a snowfield trying to get that plane at the end of the movie. So technically, Hitler is physically on top of ice. I mean, I know we're doing a Oingo Boingo JoJo reference there, but hey, it works.
Oh no, Logan, would you look? We don't have any comments today. Did we do that good of a job that you guys have like nothing to say for this?
or maybe people are just not fans of naughty film viewers.
I mean, no offense, but this film is more tame in comparison to others.
Yeah,
it's PG. The innuendos are toned down a bit.
Yeah,
probably because of the tie-ins to the original film. Mm-hmm. I mean, what did we do last week? History of the World. My God, I said that one was for the grown-ups. I meant it.
Yeah, that
was for the grown-ups.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Again, making the same reference. I think this is the perfect movie to follow that up on because you got Bronski as Hitler standing on snow, which is technically ice. Now we just need Mel Brooks to do a movie about Vikings having a funeral.
What would he call it?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I could think of something.
I'm pretty sure you could.
Yeah, like I mean, maybe we could say, maybe we could say Spaceballs was Jews in space because a lot of the actors were Jewish, but oh wait, Druze in space. There we go, because they're from Druidia.
Oh my God. I like that. Oh, wait a minute. We got something. Mel Brooks can have tame films. Yeah, this is more on the tamer side.
Yes. Yeah, surprisingly. Considering how edgy this movie is. Yeah, it's surprisingly tame.
Yeah. And he probably did that out of respect for the original.
Yeah.
Which I completely understand. And We got plenty of other works to go through if you want something less tame. So,
yeah, like the producers.
and we will cover that one too, I promise. Oh my goodness, that is it. Come on, guys.
Gotta love Christopher Lloyd. It feels like it's one of his earlier films because dang, he looks so young in this movie.
He does.
Yeah. Nevertheless, I love how they made the same joke as the original film, but they still made it funnier. Like, what did you do to that Jew? Oh, we killed him, sir. Why? You jeopardized the mission. Wait, hold on. This could be salvage. What about that other guy? We killed him too. What? Who ordered you to kill them? You did, sir.
Shut down the theater.
Shifting the blame to me. How could you? Heil Hitler. Like, I love how like you could escape, like Schultz could escape from like any uncomfortable situation just by saying the phrase Heil Hitler, because it's kind of like a Pavlovian thing where like if like one soldier says Heil Hitler, all the other Nazi soldiers have to say Heil Hitler. So it's a great way to like distract everyone from like the serious issue at hand. And yeah, I love how he's like, his face stays like straight and like unfazed the entire time, despite how confused and embarrassed he is, as opposed to Earhart.
Earhart was way too into Anne Bancroft's character, Mel Brooks' wife, when she says she has a dinner with Professor Selinsky. How about supper after dinner? No, you dum-dum. That means no. That means quit.
I'm having dinner with a very high-ranking person. Oh, I'm sure there's no one higher-ranking than me. Consider yourself in the safe arms of the Gestapo. And then Hitler says, "Oh, wait, you mean when you said you had a higher ranking, you meant?"
Oh my goodness! And throughout the film, Mel Brooks' character and Anne Bancroft, they do end up falling in love with each other. Throughout War and Mischief and Mayhem, which I find funny considering that in the beginning of the film there was the affair.
Yeah, and the arguing in Polish.
Mm-hmm. She got 2 things of roses. He got none. There was the sign with the parentheses at the bottom.
Yeah. But at least someone finally got to play Shylock.
And what's funny, Mel Brooks once said he believed the best way to defeat evil is to lampoon them until no one can take them seriously anymore. This is a textbook example of that philosophy of his.
Yeah.
I unless he does a movie about Saddam Hussein, Bin Laden, I don't know, any other scary war type criminals.
I doubt it. That's Sacha Baron Cohen's job.
Oh, jeez. We'll have to cover his works at another time.
But I will say this: he's not wrong because I remember one of my favorite Robot Chicken skits was like this one joke, this like recurring joke where like you got this guy with a time machine and he like screws things up, like he like paints over a fake tunnel and then Paul Revere ends up like taking the wrong way. It's like jerks with time machines. And then he sabotages J.K. Rowling's attempt at making Harry Potter into like a story about a magical raccoon. Jerks with time machines. The 10 Commandments. He who smelled to Delta. Jerks with time machines. Then he gets video footage of Hitler taking a dump. Heroes with time machines. No one can take Hitler seriously anymore because they saw that video of him.
Yeah, if I see that, yeah, no, you're done. I'm sorry. Now, if you were to approach someone in the street who's never heard of Mel Brooks, never seen this film, how would you convince said person to do so? Because I know this is one of your favorite movies.
Okay. It's really tough. It's like think how do I? It's a comedy about a group of Polish refugees trying to outsmart Nazis. Like, I think that's the simplest way I could put it. And the thing is, I think another thing I would want to say about it would be a conversation for when we talk about the producers. But as edgy as any joke can be, uh, what makes it offensive or not really depends on the context it's used in.
I agree.
And I would want to expand on that more when we talk about the producers, because boy, do I have some behind the scenes stories about that movie. When I've talked to other people about it. So, but I think it's the same lesson ties into that, and even Blazing Saddles. Like some jokes might seem offensive today to certain demographics, but the thing is, you have to understand the context of why these jokes or premises exist, and part of it is to criticize and lampoon the forces of evil, to show that levity and love and respect for one another, harmony, is the way to defeat it. Like in the case of Blazing Saddles, like all of the people had to, as much as they didn't like black guys, they had to team up with the main character to stop the bandits. When Mel Brooks was being chased by the Romans and the French rebels, unity is what helped make a miracle happen.
And a conveniently placed horse.
And even here, you got a British soldier teaming up with Polish actors to help get a group of refugees out of Poland and save a lot of people that were trying to escape the Nazis. Sure, the movie in itself is a comedy, but the thing is, not every movie taking place during the Holocaust has to be a melodrama.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make the Nazis any less the bad guys.
No, I mean, history is going to say what we all know to be true.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to always have a movie where the Nazis are always doing horrible things to know that the Nazis are definitely the bad guys. And of course, even if you do it through comedy, overcoming evil is always a great thing to see, especially when it's an underdog, because you got a theater group going up against soldiers, unarmed, untrained, and yet they use their wits to defeat one of the most powerful armies in the 20th century.
Yeah, not for nothing, but the soldiers in that movie were not that smart. No. Not at all.
Outnumbered, outgunned, but still, like, we got this.
Exactly. Now, any final thoughts on the film?
Not really. Just, this was a classic. I'm glad I got to see it because, it's not one of the big three, so a lot of people would give it a chance. I'm glad, that one time during work many years ago, I gave it a chance watching it on Netflix, and I'm glad I saw it. And I'm glad right now both versions of the movie are on HBO, so everyone who's watching this can check it out.
Absolutely. That's how I saw it too, on HBO Max, and I'm glad I did. It's been a long time since I had to refresh my memory. I watched it again this morning before work just to make sure. And yeah, I love being transported to another period in time, and that's what this movie does for me.
Plus, you gotta love that final performance of Hamlet in England, the land of Shakespeare. And then there's like a third soldier walking across, and then both Bronsky and God, I keep forgetting his name. Sabrinsky. Keep forgetting the soldier's name, and they're both like looking at each other like in shock. It's like, what? Outrageous fortune. Roll credits.
Now, apart from hanging out with us here on Tuesday nights, Boken, where can they find you, the good people of the internet and the world?
You can find me on Instagram at Boken_Kawato, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKawato, where tomorrow you could watch me play Jedi Fallen Order at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Jacqueline, where can they find you?
The force is strong with this one. You can find me on Instagram, Jacqueline Amir, all lowercase letters all together. And this has been another fun cinematic journey on Mel Brooks' Way. He should have a street named after him. If he doesn't, I will start a petition for it.
Yeah. Actually, after this recording's over, I will actually Google it. See if
Cool.
there
Let
is
me know.
one song.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we
So
here at the Buttery Show, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening as we ventured on another cinematic journey full of laughter and goodness. Be sure to check out our sister channel, the Morphin Network. Both of us are on there for various podcasts, as well as here, the Buttery Show, covering films that we love from the 80s and 90s. Until the popcorn kernels rise again, on behalf of my co-host and I, be awesome, be kind, be amazing, and a beacon of light in this thing that we call life. We all love you. Yes, we do. And I would sing the Mickey Mouse goodbye song from the Mickey Mouse Club. I loved that as a kid. But I will spare everybody from that tonight. We love you. Good night. Mwah.
Georgie Brown.
That
I
was
don't know
coming.
the lyrics, but I would love to learn that song in Polish.